Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm RexFinance, and today, if you can't tell by the hat, we're going to be talking about CleanSpark CLSK Stock. Now, for those of you that are new here, CleanSpark is one of our favorites on this YouTube channel, but we haven't talked about them in a couple of weeks. But it's hard not to make a video on the company after it's up 12% in one trading day. Today was a big day, not only for CleanSpark, but a lot of our favorite stocks as retail investors. Even though the majority of our stocks did phenomenally well today, they're still a far cry away from where they were at their all-time highs. In CleanSpark's example, our all-time highs were above $40 a share, so $17 a share is still a long shot from where we were at. But it's no secret out there that I truly believe June is going to be a phenomenal month for all of these stocks. If you guys want to watch my previous video on why I believe this, hit the eye in the top right hand corner, and there will also be a link to that video down in the description below. The Cliff Notes version of it is the Russell reconstitution. A lot of these stocks are going to be added to the Russell Index. The Russell Index covers 97 to 98% of US equities out there, and there was no other year where we had as many SPAC mergers, as many uplistings from the OTC markets to the NASDAQ, etc. So there's a lot of new kids on the block that are going to have to be added to the Russell Index. What this results in is the ETFs, the mutual funds, the hedge funds, the institutions that try and track the Russell Index are going to be forced to go long, meaning buy millions of shares of each individual stock in order to keep tracking the Russell Index, because the Russell reconstitution adds the new companies, they delete old companies, and they rebalance how much money goes to each individual holding inside of the Russell Index. Anyways, today we're not talking about the Russell reconstitution. You guys can go watch that video if you're curious about it. Today we're talking about CleanSpark in general. Today was a great day for CleanSpark, but that doesn't mean I'm going to stop preaching to separate your emotions from your investing decisions. Investing decisions are business decisions. Anytime you bring your emotion into business decisions, it's normally a mistake to do so. It's easy to get euphoria after a day like today where we're up 12% on the day, but I'm not going to let the emotions get the best of me, because when you start being emotionally attached to the highs, all of a sudden you become emotionally attached to the lows, and again, you end up making poor investing decisions. Again, I'll reiterate, I believe this is just the beginning of the rotation back to growth stocks. But we have key inflation data coming out in a couple of weeks. We don't know how the market's going to react to that news. More than likely, the year-over-year data for inflation is not going to look pretty. The question is whether the market has already priced this in, or whether they're going to freak out and throw a tantrum again like they have in the past. So even though a lot of your stocks probably have been hurt over the past few months, don't start blaming the management team. Don't start blaming the company. Things you wouldn't say if the stock price was at all-time highs are not viable when the stock price is at all-time lows, unless something fundamental has changed with the business. In CleanSpark's case, nothing fundamental has changed with the business. All it's done is gotten better. It's proven that it's continued to be ahead of the pack with everything they do. So let's go ahead and start getting into CleanSpark in particular. The last 2 days alone, we've gotten 3 press releases. All 3 of these are very, very key for the future of CleanSpark. The first press release we got yesterday was an update on the microgrid side of CleanSpark. This relationship with International Land Alliance is a big one that could result in millions of dollars of revenue through the years if International Land Alliance succeeds. The big key piece of information in this press release that I think everybody needs to pay attention to is the quote that Zachary Bradford left in this press release that states, "We have already successfully deployed a microgrid on ILA's model home, and we are now moving to the next phase in which we will provide all of the units in ILA's Plaza Bajamar community with solar microgrid installations, which will be supported by our software solutions." That last little bit here, supported by our software solutions. This is a big deal. This is something that CleanSpark has been focusing on doing for a long time now, transitioning their business model away from hardware revenues to primarily software-based revenues. When we see news like this, where every single home in this development community is going to be using not only CleanSpark's hardware, but also their software, their MPulse platform, that is a huge deal, because that is sticky, predictable revenue for the company. The more homes, the more businesses, the more military applications that use MPulse software, the better. because this revenue is going to compound itself time and time again. Then we have this second press release we got yesterday, and I think this is absolutely huge. Solarwatt Solutions is expanding to 3 new regions. It's basically going to double their TAM, or total addressable market, from the research I have done. This is absolutely huge. Before this press release, we already knew Solarwatt Solutions was probably going to do over $20 million in revenue for CleanSpark in the first 12 months under CleanSpark's belt. But now with this expansion, you're probably looking at more like 25 to 30 million. And then in a second year under CleanSpark's belt, I would not be surprised whatsoever if Solarwatt Solutions does 40 to over $50 million in revenue for CleanSpark. CleanSpark has the opportunity to again pair their MPulse software with each Solarwatt Solutions deployment. This is exactly what they're doing at Bahamar with International Land Alliance. So again, you're seeing the software revenues are going to start to compound dramatically. I also believe that a lot of this type of news is going to be branded under the MVolt product that's going to be launched in the coming weeks. We know that CleanSpark has plans to officially launch MVolt in early summer in Southern California. From there, they have plans to expand that outwards. MVolt is a key catalyst moving forward for CleanSpark. We've already talked about how MPulse revenue is going to be huge for the company moving forward. We've already talked about Solarwatt Solutions and how much revenue they're going to be doing. But when it's all paired together under the MVolt name, that is going to be huge for the brand, for the company, for stockholders, because literally every single part of the MVolt deployment is going to be under the CleanSpark name. The smart controller is going to be CleanSpark branded. The solar panels are going to be CleanSpark branded. The MPulse software is going to be CleanSpark branded. The energy storage unit is going to be CleanSpark branded. And then we have a mobile app that is also going to be CleanSpark branded. This is going to be huge for CleanSpark as a brand. All of a sudden, they have the opportunity to become a household name, no pun intended, for the home market of microgrids. Now, the third piece of news which we got this morning is even bigger than the last two in my personal opinion. CleanSpark finalized the purchase of ATL data center real estate. For just under $5 million, they now own the entire acreage. This is big because they state obtaining ownership of the property will save the company over $50,000 per month in rent, resulting in a reduction of overhead and expenses by more than 20% in our mining segment. Now, the mining segment is already profitable, but what this will help do in the end is actually build out the energy business segment of CleanSpark's. Because think about it, the more money that CleanSpark has to reinvest back into the business, the bigger the energy side is going to grow. The more money, the more profits, the more net income they can reinvest into their company, the bigger the energy side is going to grow. Through acquisitions, through mergers, through joint ventures, through partnerships, you name it. But this is super exciting. Also, CleanSpark has mentioned within the next quarter or two, the energy side of their business is going to be profitable in itself. So all of a sudden, you're starting to see the dual threat of CleanSpark, the energy microgrid side and the Bitcoin mining side. Together, they can build a behemoth of a company. The mining side could become a behemoth on its own. The energy side could become a behemoth on its own. This is really exciting stuff in my personal opinion. Also in this press release, we kind of got an update on what a lot of us have been looking forward to when CleanSpark actually deploys their renewables on ATL data centers facilities. What we have learned is that through this real estate purchase, the company will leverage the additional acreage to add renewables on site and to maximize the value of its substantial power purchase agreement. Each of these steps are in support of the company's disclosed intent to reach carbon neutrality at the facility in 2022, demonstrating what is believed to be the lowest cost, cleanest mix of any American Bitcoin miner operating at scale. Read this last little bit back to yourself right now. What I'm highlighting right now. Read this to yourself again. Believed to be the lowest cost, cleanest mix of any American Bitcoin miner operating at scale. Who in their right mind would not be investing in this company right now? All of the attention is going to Marathon, RIOT Blockchain, etc. But CleanSpark has the lowest cost and the cleanest mix out of any Bitcoin miner in America. How does this make any sense? When you come to conclusions that this doesn't make sense, that's generally when you can make a lot of money as an investor. CleanSpark has plans to reach 98% carbon-free mining. That is a number that literally no other company will ever touch. Marathon, for example, just released news that they plan to reach 70% carbon-free mining. CleanSpark blows that out of the absolute water. Next, I want to cover this meeting with Elon Musk and Michael Saylor that took place without CleanSpark. A lot of CleanSpark shareholders were a little bit upset, rightfully so, that CleanSpark was not invited to this meeting. They invited Argo Blockchain, BlockCap, Core Scientific, Galaxy Digital, Hive Blockchain, HUD8 Mining, Marathon, and RIOT Blockchain. CleanSpark is not in that mix. And the reason I don't believe this to be a big deal whatsoever is because if you look at each of these individual companies' carbon footprints, they are far behind CleanSpark. The majority, if not all of them, have less than 50% carbon-free mining currently. We just spoke about how CleanSpark is 95% carbon-free currently and has plans by 2022 to reach 98% carbon-free mining. There is literally no purpose whatsoever for CleanSpark to be invited to this meeting because they don't have a problem. These other companies have a problem. CleanSpark here proved that they are ahead of the game. They are ahead of all of this. If we go to the conference call that took place and search the transcript, we can see ESG is listed 4 times in this earnings transcript that CleanSpark had. This earnings call where CleanSpark talked about ESG on 4 different occasions took place weeks before this meeting between Elon Musk, Michael Saylor, and these other companies. CleanSpark is ahead of the game. We don't need a shout out from Elon Musk or Michael Saylor to prop up our share price. It will come. The numbers will prove themselves. CleanSpark is going to be the first one to jump at the opportunity of telling the world that they're virtually carbon-free with their mining. No other company will ever be able to claim that other than CleanSpark, in my personal opinion. Now, what this led to is Matthew Schultz kind of attacking these other Bitcoin mining companies. If you guys don't know, Matthew Schultz is the executive chairman and founder of CleanSpark. So investors were fearful that Matthew Schultz was pushing away potential customers of CleanSpark's because, again, ATL Data Centers, CleanSpark's Bitcoin mining facility, was acquired as a test case to prove what a microgrid and renewables could do at a Bitcoin mining facility. But the reason this is also not important whatsoever to me is because he didn't push them away. If we go back to the earnings call transcript, there was a question that asked this directly. Do you plan on installing microgrids for other crypto miners and or providing consulting services? Zachary Bradford says, absolutely. Absolutely they do. So when I read through this paragraph, I'll leave it up on screen. It's what I have highlighted here. You can see that CleanSpark clearly is in active discussion with multiple Bitcoin miners out there to deploy their microgrids at their facilities. Matthew Schultz did not shoo away these potential customers. In fact, I truly believe we're probably going to get news on this in the coming weeks or months because, again, it's pretty evident that they are in active discussions with at least one miner out there. Zachary Bradford didn't say, well, maybe if there's demand out there. They already know there's demand out there for this stuff, and they say, absolutely, we anticipate installing microgrids for other crypto miners. So to end off this relatively longer video, I just want to go through some of the upcoming catalysts as a review for what CleanSpark is looking forward to. To start with, we already know with almost absolute certainty that CleanSpark is going to be included in the Russell Index. What that means is their company's stock will be included in the Russell reconstitution process, where funds are going to have to buy up millions of shares of stock in CleanSpark. If you guys out there know where they're going to find millions of shares for sale of the stock, please let me know. But until somebody tells me where they're going to find all that selling pressure, I'm just going to go ahead and say CleanSpark is likely to double up in share price in the month of June. Now, that's just a personal prediction. That's not financial advice. That's just my anticipation. So the Russell reconstitution is obviously a big catalyst as we move forward, but we also have the official launch of MVolt. This, again, is going to bring a lot of recurring revenues, which are going to compound, and it's all very, very profitable revenues as well. Software revenues range from about 75 to 90% margin. Beyond that, we also know that CleanSpark is always looking at mergers and acquisitions because sometimes there's simply no other way to grow quicker than merging or acquiring another company. We also have this dual threat business model that's going to showcase itself over the coming quarters after the energy business segment becomes profitable on its own. When both business segments are profitable, that decreases the need for dilution, and it also allows the company to reinvest more profits back into the business. As we look forward and Bitcoin prices recover, and a lot more analysts are coming out anticipating Bitcoin to hit $100,000 per Bitcoin in the relatively short term, we can reasonably conclude that CleanSpark is going to do more revenue in the coming year than their current market cap of $578 million. In my personal opinion, this company should be a $3 billion market cap. I know a lot of you out there might not agree with me, but a $3 billion market cap would put this right about $100 per share, which again is my price target for the end of 2021. Next fiscal year, CleanSpark's energy business is going to do well over $50 million in revenue in my opinion, and depending on what Bitcoin prices do, the mining business is going to do over $500 million in revenue. It's also important to note that every single month from here on out until September of 2022, CleanSpark is going to be receiving more and more miners, increasing their mining capacity, increasing the amount of Bitcoin they're able to mine. So as we look forward, I have not lost any confidence whatsoever in CleanSpark. I think this is just the beginning of our uptrend here. Again, that inflation data in 2 weeks is going to be key, but keep the eye on the prize. I am not backing down from my price target of $100 a share by December 31st of 2021. With that, if you guys are new here or returning and not yet subscribed, hit the subscribe button down below. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the like button. With that, guys, I'll be back with a brand new video later this week. Peace out.